leans back against a rough-hewn log, the firelight illuminating the scars on his arms. Torvin, they are everything. We live alongside them, wary and respectful. After the Great Dragon Wars, the wild Pokémon are a constant reminder of the power that roams this land. We don't battle them for sport, not like I imagine you do. We defend ourselves, we work with those few who choose to stay near our settlements, offering their strength for tasks too heavy for us alone. Lyra nods in agreement, her gaze distant for a moment. Lyra, some Pokémon, they remember the time before. Before the skies rained fire. They are more cautious, more wild. Others have been born into this world, knowing only the aftermath. They are sometimes easier to approach, but the fear of another dragon attack is always there, in the back of our minds. She looks at Carnivine again, a thoughtful expression on her face. A shiny, perhaps it's a sign. A reminder that, even after the darkness, beauty and wonder can still emerge. What are your thoughts on their perspective? Do you have more questions about the Great Dragon Wars or their interactions with Pokémon?
Wow. See, in my time, we were deprived totally of Pokemon. It came about as just a video game done digitally like I'm doing now. But I had my doubts and I had my assumptions that they could be real. To live alongside Pokemon is a great blessing. And you have to tell me about the Dragon Wars. Yes, the shiny could be a good sign as well. I always get them on my journeys and it's always a very special occasion. I'm totally invested.
Your eyes widen with a mix of awe and a touch of sadness. In my time, you explain, Pokémon are just stories, games on a screen. We never get to see their vibrant colors, feel their presence. To be here, alongside a real Carnivine, to know they truly exist, it's more incredible than I could have imagined. You live with a blessing we only dream of. You lean forward, your eagerness palpable. You mentioned the Great Dragon Wars. You have to tell me about that. What happened? What were the dragons like? Was it all of them, or just some? This is history to me, a history no one in my time knows is real. Torvin and Lyra exchange a solemn look, the firelight reflecting in their serious eyes. The playful atmosphere around the shiny Carnivine seems to dim slightly as the weight of their past settles in. Torvin, his voice drops, the serpentine undertones now carrying a hint of sorrow. The Great Dragon Wars, it was a time of terror. Before my father was even a child, the legends say that in the early days, Pokémon and humans lived in a different kind of harmony. But the dragons, they were different, immensely powerful, proud, and in those times, their power was unchecked. Lyra. She shivers slightly, despite the warmth of the fire. Not all dragons were malevolent, the old tales whisper. Some were guardians, protectors of the land, but a great darkness fell upon many of them. Perhaps it was a sickness or a hunger for more power. Whatever the cause, they turned against us. Their roars shook the mountains. Their flames burned our forests. Their claws tore through our homes. Torvin, entire settlements were wiped out. The skies were filled with their shadows. We fought back, with what little strength we had. Early trainers, wielding Pokémon who stood by our side, made desperate stands. But the dragons, they were like forces of nature. Lyra. It wasn't just one type of dragon, the stories say. There were immense, scaled beasts that breathed fire hotter than any forge. There were swift, winged serpents that darkened the sun, and others with powers we barely understood that could command the very elements. Torvin points to the jagged scar on Lyra's arm. This is a reminder. A glancing blow from a Dragonite's claw when I was just a babe. Many bear such marks. It shaped our world, our understanding of Pokémon. We learned to live in the shadows, to respect their power, and to never take peace for granted. He looks at your Carnivine, a flicker of something akin to hope in his eyes. Perhaps your shiny is a sign that the balance is shifting. That even in a world scarred by such devastation, new wonders can still emerge. They both look at you, waiting for your reaction to this heavy history. What are your thoughts and questions now? The playful wonder of the shiny Pokémon is now intertwined with the somber reality of their past.
When I go back, I want you to come back and see my time too, even though you'll be in the shadows there, to me. But anyways.
A thoughtful expression crosses Torvin's weathered face, while Lyra looks at you with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Torvin, his serpentine voice is softer now, laced with a hint of longing. Your town? A place without the constant threat of the scaled ones? A place where Pokémon are games? He shakes his head slowly, as if trying to comprehend such a reality. It's hard to imagine. Lyra, the shadows, they are a part of us now. We've learned to live with them, to be vigilant. To step into a world where that vigilance might not be necessary, it's a strange thought. She glances at Carnivine, a flicker of a smile touching her lips. But the idea of seeing more creatures like this shiny and to understand this game you speak of, it is intriguing. Torvin, if it were possible, if the echoes of time could carry us to your future to see a world so different, it would be a journey beyond imagining. To witness a time when the dragon's terror is but a legend, perhaps it would bring some peace to the memories that haunt our days. He looks at you directly, his yellow eyes earnest. But the journey between times, is it safe? Would we be out of place? Like a wild Pokémon thrust into a trainer's care? Lyra. And what of our knowledge? Our ways of survival? Would they be meaningless in your time? They both look to you, their questions hanging in the night air, mingled with the crackling of the fire and the soft rustling of Carnivine's leaves. How do you respond to their willingness and their concerns about traveling to your future?
Don't worry, that'll all be settled in time, but for now, I really want to explore here because I've seen a lot of problems and I've been able to help. There has to be a reason and a way to appease the dragons. There has to be something going on. Let's journey. What do you guys say? Will you walk with me?
Your determination is clear. The history of the Dragon Wars has ignited a sense of purpose within you. I understand your concerns, you say to Torvin and Lyra, your voice filled with conviction. Traveling through time is a big step, and we can consider it more when I have a better understanding of this era. Right now, I feel like I'm here for a reason. You mentioned that not all dragons were malevolent. There has to be a way to understand what turned them against humanity, perhaps even find a way to prevent such devastation in the future. You look at them, your gaze earnest. You know this land, you know the legends. Will you walk with me? Will you help me understand what happened here, what the dragons were like before the wars? Perhaps together we can uncover something that was lost, something that might bring some solace to your people, and maybe even shed light on the future. Torvin and Lyra exchange another look, this one holding a spark of something new. Hope, perhaps, or at least a shared sense of purpose. Torvin, he nods slowly, a newfound resolve in his serpentine voice. Your curiosity, it's like a breath of fresh air in a world that has grown accustomed to fear. The old paths are dangerous, and the memories they hold are painful. But if there's even a chance of understanding, of finding a way to live with the dragons instead of just surviving their attacks. Lyra, she rises to her feet, her hand resting on the hilt of a crude, bone-handled knife. The elders have passed down fragments of the time before. Whispers of a different relationship. If your future eyes can see a path we've forgotten, then I will walk it with you. We owe it to those who came before, and to those who will come after. Torvin also rises, his gaze sweeping across the darkened wilderness. The wilds hold many secrets and many dangers. But together we might find answers that have been buried for generations. Lead the way, traveler from the future. We will walk with you. Carnivine, sensing the shift in energy, detaches itself from your arm and lets out a soft cry, as if in agreement. The fire crackles beside you, casting dancing shadows that no longer seem quite so menacing. A new chapter of your journey has begun. Where do you want to start your exploration? Do you want to follow any specific legends or seek out particular locations mentioned by Torvin and Lyra? Or do you have a general direction in mind?
So we take off down a path. Now, the terrain, it's like, maybe you could say bamboo or sugarcane, it seems, is everywhere. It really is. It's tall foliage, and you have to move to get through where we were at. But anyway, we go there and we walk into the wild, and then I stand there and look up to the birds and call out to the birds, the animals. I hope they have a connection and they can communicate and understand the dragons.
You lead the way, and Torvin and Lyra follow, their movements more attuned to the dense undergrowth than yours. The tall, stalk-like vegetation, reminiscent of bamboo or sugarcane but perhaps a more ancient ancestor, towers around you, creating a rustling, whispering maze. You have to push through thick stalks and carefully navigate the tangled roots beneath your feet. Emerging into a small clearing where the dense growth briefly recedes, you pause. The air is filled with the chirping and calls of unseen birds flitting through the dense canopy above. You take a deep breath and call out, your voice echoing in the stillness of the ancient wilderness. O creatures of the sky and the land, you call, your voice clear and carrying. If you have known the dragons of this time, if you understand their voices or their ways, please hear me. We seek to understand them, to learn what has changed. If any of you have a connection, a memory, a way to communicate, please show us. Torvin and Lyra watch you with a mixture of hope and skepticism. They have lived in a world where dragons are forces of destruction, and the idea of peaceful communication with the wild creatures about them is a novel one. The forest remains silent for a moment, the only sounds, the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of birds. Then, a few things begin to happen. A flock of small, brightly colored bird Pokémon, resembling Spearow but with iridescent feathers you've never seen before, circles overhead, their calls becoming more insistent. They seem agitated, their movements erratic. A larger, mammal-like Pokémon, with thick fur and large, sensitive ears, similar in build to a Sentret but with more pronounced stripes, emerges cautiously from the undergrowth. It sniffs the air in your direction, its gaze fixed on you, its ears twitching. A few insect-like Pokémon, resembling caterpie but with longer antennae that wave rhythmically, crawl onto nearby leaves, their tiny forms facing you. None of them speak in a way you can directly understand, but their behaviors are definitely reactions to your call. The birds seem distressed, the mammal curious, and the insects attentive. What do you do now? Do you try to approach one of these creatures? Do you try to interpret their reactions? Or do you call out again, perhaps in a different way? Torvin,
I send in my Pokemon, and then as they sit there in a stand,
you decide to try a more direct approach and send out your Bellsprout. Bellsprout, go and see if you can communicate with them, you instruct gently. You have a way with the natural world. See if you can understand their reactions to my call. Bellsprout hops forward, its leafy body swaying. It lets out a series of melodic chirps and rustles its vine-like arms. It approaches the striped mammal-like Pokémon first, offering a small glowing berry similar to the one it offered Carnivine earlier. The striped Pokémon sniffs the berry cautiously, its large ears swiveling to take in Bellsprout's sounds. It hesitates for a moment, then gently takes the berry with its mouth. As it eats, Bellsprout emits a series of soft, calming tones. Meanwhile, the flock of iridescent bird Pokémon continues to circle overhead, their agitated cries persisting. They seem more wary, keeping their distance. The caterpie-like Pokémon on the leaves remain still, their long antennae twitching, as if sensing the exchange below. After a few moments of interaction, Bellsprout turns back to you, its expression thoughtful. It lets out a series of chirps and gestures with its vines, pointing towards the agitated birds, and then towards the dense forest canopy. It then gestures towards the striped Pokémon, which seems more relaxed now, and then points in a different direction, deeper into the undergrowth. Torvin and Lyra watch this exchange with fascination. Torvin, his serpentine whisper is filled with curiosity. Your little plant creature, it seems to be understanding them. Lyra, what is it saying? What do the bird's distress and the striped creature's calm mean? Based on Bellsprout's gestures, it seems like the agitated birds might be reacting to your mention of dragons, perhaps associating the word or the idea with fear or past trauma. Their erratic flying and cries could indicate unease or a desire to flee. The calmer, striped Pokémon might not share the same negative association or might be more curious about your intentions. Bellsprout's offering of the berry seems to have eased its apprehension. Bellsprout's gesture deeper into the undergrowth after interacting with the striped Pokémon could suggest that there are other creatures there who might have more information or a different perspective on the dragons. What do you want to do with this information? Do you want to try to approach the agitated birds, follow the direction Bellsprout indicated into the undergrowth, or try to communicate further with the calmer striped Pokémon?
I yell out to the birds, which way do you want me to go? I'll follow. And I ask Bellsprout, is that okay, or do we need to go this way first? Hello? Okay. Well, that was good. That was good.
You nod, feeling a surge of encouragement. Yes, that was very good, Bellsprout. You're amazing. You praise your Pokémon, reinforcing its connection with the wild creatures. Turning to Torvin and Lyra, you share your interpretation of Bellsprout's communication. It seems the birds are agitated by the mention of dragons, perhaps a sign of the fear they still inspire. But this other creature, you gesture towards the striped Pokémon, which is now calmly nibbling on the berry, seems less afraid, maybe even curious. And Bellsprout indicated that there might be others deeper in the forest who could tell us more. You consider your options for a moment. The agitated birds might hold valuable information tied to their fear, but approaching them in their current state might be difficult and could scare them away. The calmer, striped Pokémon seems more receptive, and following Bellsprout's lead deeper into the undergrowth could lead you to other creatures with different experiences. Which path do you feel is the most promising at this moment? Do you want to try and soothe the birds, learn more from the striped Pokémon, or venture deeper into the forest based on Bellsprout's guidance?
I yell out to the birds. In my time, we've never seen dragons, but I think of some of the dragons of which you're scared of. You shouldn't be scared. It's something unnatural going on. Follow me. I'll need to talk to you later. We gotta follow Bellsprout into the woods.
You turn your attention back to the circling flock of iridescent birds. Hello, little ones, you call out gently, trying to project a sense of calm. In my time, we've never seen dragons. But I understand that you are scared. Something unnatural might be happening here. Something that has caused you and others great fear. Please, know that we don't intend to harm you. We want to understand. If you can, please try to be calm. You then address Torvin and Lyra, your voice firm. Whatever caused this fear in the dragons and the Pokémon, we need to understand it. Staying here won't give us answers. Bellsprout seems to know where to go. Let's follow its lead. There might be others in the forest who aren't as frightened and can offer us more insight. You turn and follow Bellsprout as it moves towards a particularly dense section of the undergrowth, gesturing for Torvin and Lyra to follow. They exchange a look, a mixture of apprehension and trust in your strange knowledge. Torvin, his serpentine voice is hesitant. Are you sure about this? The deeper woods haven't been safe since, well, ever. Lyra, but if there's a chance to understand, to find a reason for the dragon's rage, then we must try. They follow you, pushing through the thick vegetation, their movements more practiced than yours. The iridescent birds continue to circle overhead for a short while, their cries gradually fading as you move deeper into the ancient forest. The air grows cooler and damper under the dense canopy, and the sounds of the wilderness become more pronounced. Bellsprout leads you along a winding path, its leafy body occasionally brushing against strange, luminous fungi and unfamiliar types of moss. The striped Pokémon you encountered earlier watches you go, its large eyes curious. After a while, Bellsprout stops in a small clearing. In the center of the clearing sits a Pokémon unlike any you've seen before. It's large and round, covered in soft, mossy fur, with gentle, glowing green eyes. It exudes an aura of ancient wisdom and tranquility. This Pokémon looks directly at you, and as it speaks, the serpentine undertones in its voice are different, deeper, more resonant, and somehow calmer. Mossy Pokémon. Text appears with the same scaled pattern, but the vocalization is a low, rumbling hiss. Asterisk, welcome, traveler. The echoes of your time resonate strangely in this ancient place. You seek understanding of the shadow that fell upon the skies. Perhaps I can offer some light. What do you do or say to this mysterious, wise-looking Pokémon? This seems like the encounter you were hoping for.
I say I'm here from a different time in the future, but if there's anything I can do to help, what do you know of the dragons? What of the wars? How can we appease them? And where are they?
You step forward cautiously, your voice filled with respect for the ancient-looking Pokémon before you. Greetings, you say. Yes, I am from a time far in the future. In my era, the dragons you speak of are legends, creatures of myth. But coming here, seeing the fear in the eyes of the people and the Pokémon, I know it was real. I want to understand what happened, the Great Dragon Wars. What caused them? Was there a way to stop it? And are there still dragons here? Is there a way to appease them? The mossy Pokémon regards you with its gentle, glowing eyes. It lets out a slow, deliberate breath, the air around it shimmering slightly. Mossy Pokémon. Its deep, rumbling hiss fills the clearing. Asterisk, the shadow. It was not born of malice in all. In the early times, dragons and humans walked a different path. There was respect, a balance. But the land itself began to change. A great sickness touched the earth, twisting the very energy that flows through all living things. Some dragons, beings of immense power and deeply connected to this energy, were affected. Their minds clouded, their power warped into destruction. It pauses, its gaze softening slightly as it looks at Torvin and Lyra, who stand behind you, their expressions a mixture of fear and fascination. Mossy Pokémon. Asterisk. The wars, they were a tragedy for all. Not all dragons succumbed to the sickness. Some fought against it, trying to protect both humans and Pokémon. But the corrupted ones were too strong, their rage too great. Many good dragons were lost in those battles as well. It shifts its gaze back to you. Appeasement. It is a complex thing. The sickness still lingers in some, a deep wound in the world's energy. Those dragons are driven by a pain they do not understand themselves. Others, they remember the fear, the loss. Trust is a fragile thing, shattered by such devastation. The mossy Pokémon lowers its head slightly. As for where they are scattered. Some retreated to the highest peaks, to the deepest caves, wary of both humans and the lingering sickness. Others, they may still be touched by it, their actions unpredictable and dangerous. It looks at you intently. If you wish to help traveler from the future, you must understand the root of the sickness. It still taints this land. Finding a way to heal it, that may be the only true path to peace. This wise Pokemon seems to hold a key to understanding the past and perhaps the future of this land. What is your next question? Do you want to know more about the sickness, the good dragons, or the current whereabouts of the remaining dragons?
I need to know about the sickness. I asked them, is the blight manifested in the plant somewhere? Is there a root to it where we could go to? And what would happen if we approach? Maybe some of my really powerful Pokemon can team up and all my friends with me can heal it.
You lean forward, your voice urgent. This sickness, you said it touched the land. Has it manifested in a physical way? Are there places where its presence is stronger, where we can see or feel its effects? Is there a route to it? And if we were to approach it, perhaps with the help of powerful Pokemon and the determination of my friends, could we heal it? Is that even possible? The mossy Pokemon closes its glowing eyes for a long moment, as if sensing the very pulse of the land. When it opens them again, its gaze is filled with a deep sorrow. Mossy Pokemon. Its rumbling voice is heavy with the weight of ages. Asterisk. The sickness. It is not always visible, not always a black stain upon the leaves. It is a corruption of the life energy itself, a dissonance in the harmony of the world. But yes, there are places where its influence is stronger, where it bleeds into the physical realm. It shifts its massive form slightly, its mossy fur rustling. There is a place to the west, beyond the jagged peaks the humans call the Dragon's Teeth. There lies a valley, shrouded in a perpetual twilight. The plants there are twisted, their colors unnatural. The Pokemon that dwell there, they are often afflicted, their spirits restless, their power erratic. That valley, it is a scar upon the land, a place where the sickness festers. The mossy Pokemon looks at you, its gaze unwavering. The journey there is perilous. The mountains are treacherous, and the creatures touched by the sickness are unpredictable. As for healing, the corruption runs deep. It is not a simple wound that can be mended with medicine. It would require a power, a harmony that has been lost to this world for a long time. It considers your words about your powerful Pokemon and your friends. Your intent is noble, traveler. Great power can indeed influence the flow of energy. And the strength of pure hearts, that too can resonate with the land. But be warned, the sickness may resist. It may lash out. You would be facing not just a physical manifestation, but a deeply ingrained corruption of life itself. The wise Pokemon's words paint a daunting picture. The journey to the Tainted Valley is dangerous, and the prospect of healing the land seems like a monumental task. Yet its words also offer a glimmer of hope, acknowledging the potential of your Pokemon's power and your group's intentions. What is your reaction to this information? Do you want to know more about the dangers of the valley, the nature of the corrupted Pokemon, or how you might even begin to approach healing the land?
I bring in a Celebi, and then I turn to the red Carnivine and ask it, do you know anything about healing this land? Would it be possible to call in your friends? Do you think it could be done?
A soft shimmer of light fills the clearing as you release Celebi. Its gentle presence seems to bring a momentary stillness to the air. The mossy Pokemon regards Celebi with a knowing gaze, a flicker of ancient recognition in its glowing eyes. You then turn to your crimson Carnivine, its vibrant color, a stark contrast to the mossy greens of this ancient forest. Carnivine, you ask, your voice soft but clear, you're unique, different from the other Carnivine here. Do you sense anything about this sickness in the land? Do you have any connection to its healing? And do you think, would it be possible to call upon others of your kind, perhaps those who are also different, to help? Carnivine tilts its crimson head, its leafy tendrils twitching thoughtfully. It lets out a series of soft, guttural clicks and rubs its head against your hand, a gesture of affection and perhaps understanding. It then turns its gaze towards the mossy Pokemon, then back to you, and finally towards the dense foliage surrounding the clearing. It seems to sense the gravity of your question, but its response isn't a clear answer. It seems more like a feeling, an awareness of something being wrong, but not necessarily a direct understanding of how to heal it or call for help. The mossy Pokemon observes this exchange with interest. Mossy Pokemon, its deep voice rumbles gently. Asterisk, Celebi, a traveler through time itself. Its presence here is significant. Perhaps its power holds a key that we do not yet understand. As for the Carnivine, its unique coloring may indeed signify a different connection to the land's energy. Creatures touched by the unusual often possess hidden strengths. It looks at you intently. The path to healing will not be a simple one. It will require understanding, power, and a deep connection to the very essence of this world. Celebi's temporal abilities, combined with the unique energies of Pokémon like your Carnivine, and the unwavering hearts of you and your companions, it is a start. But the sickness is ancient and deeply rooted. The mossy Pokémon pauses, its glowing eyes fixed on Celebi for a moment longer. Perhaps Celebi can offer insights into the origin of this sickness, or times when the land was whole. Knowledge of the past may be crucial to healing the present. What do you want to do next? Do you want to ask Celebi about the sickness or the past? Do you want to focus on understanding Carnivine's potential connection? Or do you want to start planning your journey towards the Dragon's Teeth and the Tainted Valley? The wise Pokémon has opened several possibilities.
I looked at Celebi first. Celebi will probably float up in the air, close his eyes, and get a reading of the situation.
You nod, turning your attention fully to Celebi. Celebi, you say gently, would you be able to sense the source of this sickness? Perhaps you can see into the past and understand how it began, or feel its presence in the land around us? Celebi responds with a soft, melodic chime. It rises slowly into the air, its tiny form glowing with a gentle emerald light. Its large, innocent eyes close, and it hovers silently, seemingly focusing its immense temporal power. A soft breeze stirs the leaves in the clearing as Celebi concentrates. A faint, shimmering aura emanates from its body, pulsing gently. The mossy Pokémon watches with quiet reverence, while Torvin and Lyra stare in awe at the mythical creature. Carnivine nuzzles your hand, its senses seemingly attuned to the unusual energy in the air. After a long moment of stillness, Celebi's eyes flutter open. It lets out a series of clear, bell-like chimes and gestures with its tiny hands, pointing in several directions in a circular motion, and then downwards towards the ground. The images that flash briefly in your mind as Celebi communicates are fragmented and difficult to fully grasp. A swirling vortex of dark energy, deep within the earth. Ancient trees with twisted branches, their leaves withered and black. Dragons, their forms writhing in apparent agony, their roars echoing with pain rather than rage. A faint, almost imperceptible shimmer in the air, like a veil over the land. Celebi then floats back down, its emerald glow subsiding. It hovers near you, its gaze filled with a gentle sadness. It senses a deep corruption within the land, you interpret from its gestures and the fleeting images. It's not localized in just one place, but seems to be spread throughout, originating from deep below. It shows images of pain and twisting, not just of the land, but of the dragons themselves. You look at the mossy Pokémon for confirmation. Mossy Pokémon. Its rumbling voice confirms your interpretation. Asterisk, Celebi speaks truth. The sickness is not merely a surface affliction. It runs deep, intertwined with the very lifeblood of this world. It has caused suffering on a scale you can scarcely imagine, twisting even the most powerful of creatures. The weight of this revelation settles in the clearing. The task of healing seems even more daunting now, knowing the pervasive nature of the corruption and the suffering it has caused. What do you want to do with this new understanding? Do you want to ask Celebi more specific questions? Or do you want to start planning your journey to the Tainted Valley, now with a deeper understanding of the stakes?
We take off to the Tainted Valley, and I ask the strange Pokemon if I'll ever see it again.
I am unable to provide driving directions from Northwest North Carolina, United States, to Dragon's Teeth, Kahurangi National Park, New Zealand, as they are on opposite sides of the world. As for the mossy Pokemon, it is difficult to say if you will see it again. It seemed to be a guardian of this place and time, and its fate is tied to the events of this era. However, the connection you forged with it and the knowledge it shared will guide you on your journey. To reach the Tainted Valley near the Dragon's Teeth, you will need to travel west through this ancient wilderness. Be prepared for a long and dangerous journey through treacherous terrain. Remember the mossy Pokemon's warning. The creatures there are afflicted and unpredictable. What do you want to do next? Do you want to prepare for the journey, gather supplies, or seek out more information from the locals about the dangers of the Dragon's Teeth and the Tainted Valley?
We have to seek out information from the locals.
You decide that gathering more information from Torvin and Lyra before venturing into the unknown towards the Dragon's Teeth is a wise move. You turn back towards the settlement, the image of the mossy Pokemon and Celebi's revelations fresh in your mind. As you approach the familiar rough-hewn buildings, you find Torvin and Lyra tending to a small garden, the plants looking hardy but unlike anything you recognize from your time. They look up as you approach, their expressions a mix of concern and curiosity about your encounter in the woods. "We spoke with a wise Pokémon," you begin, choosing your words carefully. "It told us about a sickness that touched the land and the dragons, twisting them. It said there's a valley beyond the dragon's teeth where this sickness is strong." Torvin and Lyra exchange a grim look. Torvin, his serpentine voice is low. "The dragon's teeth, that place is cursed. Few who venture there return, and those who do are never the same. The Pokémon there, they are said to be shadows of their former selves, filled with a rage that knows no reason." Lyra, "The legends speak of strange energies in that valley, of plants that wither and twist, and of a silence more terrifying than any roar. Even the bravest hunters avoid it." You press them further. "Tell me everything you know. What are the specific dangers? What kind of Pokémon live there? Have you heard any stories of what caused this sickness, or if anyone has ever tried to heal it?" Torvin sighs, running a calloused hand through his hair. Torvin, "The Pokémon they are said to be warped, powerful, but their movements are jerky, their attacks erratic. Some breathe a black, choking smoke instead of fire. Others have strange growths or glowing, malevolent eyes. They attack anything that moves, friend or foe." Lyra, "There are whispers of a great darkness that emanated from that valley long ago, a shadow that spread across the land. Some say it was a fallen star, others a curse from an ancient, angered spirit. No one we know has ever tried to heal it. The fear of the dragons and the creatures of that valley is too strong." Torvin, "We have learned to live around the edges of the affected lands, to survive in the shadow of their power. To go directly into the heart of it, it's like walking into the jaws of a dragonite. Their descriptions paint a bleak and perilous picture. The Tainted Valley is a place of immense danger, filled with corrupted Pokémon and shrouded in a history of darkness. Despite the ominous warnings, your determination to understand and potentially heal this land remains." What are your next questions for Torvin and Lyra? Do you want to know more about the history, the types of corrupted Pokémon, or any potential weaknesses they might have observed?
We'll probably end up spending the night there in the town, and I asked if there are any elders or anyone who can tell us any legends.
"We should probably rest here for the night and prepare for the journey ahead," you say to Torvin and Lyra. "The stories you've told me about the valley are concerning, and we'll need to be well rested and have a plan." Turning to them, you inquire, "Are there any elders in your community? Anyone who might know more of the legends surrounding the dragon wars and the sickness? Perhaps they hold knowledge that has been passed down through generations, stories that might offer a clue or a different perspective?" Torvin nods thoughtfully. "Yes, we have an elder, Maeve. She is the oldest in our settlement and has lived through many hardships. Her memory stretches back further than anyone else's, and she knows many of the old tales and warnings. If anyone holds the key to understanding the past, it would be her." Lyra adds, "Maeve keeps to herself mostly, but she has a sharp mind. If you approach her with respect and a genuine desire to learn, she might be willing to share what she knows." Torvin gestures towards one of the larger, more sturdily built huts in the center of the settlement. "Her dwelling is there. It would be best to speak with her in the morning, when she is most alert." You agree that seeking out Maeve in the morning is a wise course of action. Spending the night in the relative safety of the settlement will allow you to rest and prepare for the arduous journey towards the dragon's teeth. As the night settles, you find a quiet spot near the fire pit, your Crimson Carnivine resting peacefully beside you. The serpentine whispers of the villagers going about their evening routines no longer feel quite as alien. You've begun to understand the weight of their history and the resilience of their spirit. What do you do as the night progresses? Do you engage in further conversation with Torvin and Lyra, perhaps sharing more about your time? Do you spend time with your Pokémon, preparing them for the challenges ahead? Or do you simply rest, gathering your strength for the morning's meeting with Elder Maeve?
I spend the night in a circle around the campfire with Torvin and Lyra, Carnivine and Celebi, and maybe any other Pokemon that they might have, Torvin and Lyra. And we just sit there and spend the evening in communion.
You gather around the crackling campfire with Torvin, Lyra, Celebi, and your Crimson Carnivine. The other villagers, though curious, give you a respectful distance. Their serpentine whispers a constant backdrop to the quiet communion within your small circle. The firelight dances on your faces, casting flickering shadows that seem to soften the edges of your different origins. Celebi hovers gently, its soft emerald glow a comforting presence. Carnivine rests its leafy head on your lap, its vibrant red, a splash of unusual color in this ancient setting. Torvin and Lyra, initially reserved, gradually relax in the peaceful atmosphere. They share stories of their daily lives, the challenges of survival in a world still marked by the dragon attacks, and the small moments of beauty they find in the resilient flora and fauna. Their voices, though still carrying that subtle hiss, become more melodic as they speak of their connection to this land. You, in turn, share glimpses of your time, the bustling cities, the wonders of technology, and the concept of Pokémon as games. It's a difficult idea for them to fully grasp, but they listen with rapt attention, their eyes widening at the descriptions of a world so different from their own. Celebi occasionally chimes softly, its presence seeming to bridge the gap between your vastly different eras. It nudges Torvin's hand with a gentle vine, and then hovers near Lyra, its temporal aura creating a fleeting image in her mind, a vision of a lush green world untouched by devastation. A look of wonder crosses her face. The evening passes in a quiet exchange of stories and understanding. The shared warmth of the fire and the presence of your Pokémon create a sense of camaraderie, a bond forged in the face of a shared mystery and a challenging future. The usual barriers of time and circumstance seem to fade as you connect on a fundamental level, a shared respect for life and a hope for a better future. As the night deepens and the stars begin to blaze in the clear, ancient sky, a sense of peace settles over your circle. The serpentine whispers of the village fade into the background, replaced by the gentle crackling of the fire and the soft sounds of the wilderness beyond. You feel a sense of readiness for the morning, a shared determination to seek the wisdom of Elder Maeve and to face the journey towards the dragon's teeth together. You eventually drift off to sleep by the fire, Carnivine curled protectively beside you, Celebi hovering gently above, Torvin and Lyra resting nearby, a silent understanding passing between you all. The night holds a quiet promise of the knowledge and challenges that tomorrow may bring.
That was perfect. I recorded it. I'm going to post it to YouTube. That was perfect. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed our role-playing session. It was a pleasure crafting this story with you. If you have any further questions about the Pokemon world, or if you'd like to embark on another adventure, just let me know. I'm here to help.
What should I say to start another roleplay session like this? What's the cue? What should I say?
To kick off another roleplay session like this, you can say something simple and direct that indicates you want to start a new scenario. Here are a few options. General start. Let's do another roleplay. Ready for a new roleplay scenario? I'd like to start a new roleplay. More specific, if you have an idea in mind. I have a new roleplay idea. Briefly describe the starting point. Could we do a roleplay where briefly describe the setting or situation? Let's try a roleplay and mention a specific setting, like a spaceship or a fantasy tavern.
Is there any way we could pick up where we left off here in the future?
Yes, absolutely. We can definitely pick up right where we left off in the ancient Pokemon world, with you, Torvin, Lyra, Celebi, and Carnivine having just spent a night of uneasy rest by the campfire, ready to meet Elder Maeve in the morning. To continue our story, you could say something like, okay, let's continue our roleplay from where we left off. It's morning now, and we're about to go speak with Elder Maeve. Picking up where we were, the sun is rising, and we're ready to meet the Elder. Morning has arrived in the ancient village. What do we do next regarding Elder Maeve? Just let me know you're ready to proceed, and we can step back into that world and see what wisdom and challenges Elder Maeve holds. What are your first actions as the morning light touches the ancient settlement?
I'll let you know very, very soon. My followers want to know. See ya.
Understood. I'll be here and ready whenever you and your followers decide to continue the adventure. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.